Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another edition of your pronunciation workshop. This is AG Languages, and we're very happy to have you here with us. Are you ready? Let's go. As usual, we're going to answer our question, what's today's class about? And as usual, our topic is hidden behind this phonetic transcription. Who can help us with this phonetic transcription? Let's see. Evelyn, please go ahead.
Is culture shock.
There you go. Nice. Thank you very much. That's the topic. Culture shock. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Okay, let's see. We are going to use this topic and we are going to talk about stress. All right. So this is class number 15, and we're going to talk about primary, secondary, and unstressed syllables. All right. What are we going to have? Let me show you. We're going to have our paragraph. Here, we're going to get our samples. We are going to have our statements, our questions, and some other questions we are going to use to focus on stressing the right syllables. The topic again is culture shock. Okay, let's read the paragraph. It says, culture shock refers to feelings of uncertainty, confusion, or anxiety that people may experience when moving to a new country or experiencing a new culture or surroundings. This cultural adjustment is normal and is the result of being in an unfamiliar environment. Culture shock can occur when people move to another city or country, such as when retiring abroad. Culture shock can also occur when people go on vacation, travel in retirement or for business, or study abroad for school. For example, international students studying abroad for a semester in another country may experience a cultural adjustment due to an unfamiliarity with the weather, local customs, language, food, and values. Okay, so let's see. Class number 15 again, stress. We're going to talk about syllables. And as you can see here, a syllable is a beat of a word, and the center of a syllable is usually a vowel, which can be preceded or followed by consonants. In this list here below, the syllables are underlined. Take a look at how Merriam-Webster dictionary divides syllables in words and its phonetic transcription. So we're going to snap our fingers for each beat. For example, we have 1, 2 syllables, 3, 4, 5 syllables. Okay, let's start. So the first one, face, that's 1. Prove, that's 2 syllables. Important, 3. Operation, 4. And finally, organization, 5. And as you can tell, each one has vowels in the middle. For example, this one has a diphthong, a, phase. This one here has a schwa, which is the only one, and then u in prove. Important, 1 syllable here, o, another one here, and schwa, another one here. Then we have a, 1, schwa, a, and then schwa. And finally, we have o, schwa here, another schwa, a, and then another schwa. Organization. There you go. So those are the syllables. It is very important to keep this in mind, because if we do not give the necessary stress where it needs to be put, we might convey the wrong message. So it is important to keep this in mind. Okay, let's talk about the stressed syllable. For example, 1 syllable has primary or heavy stress. And this is the most important syllable in the word because listeners use the stressed syllable to identify words. Again, it is very important. I cannot say traffic, but traffic. The vowel in the stressed syllable is longer than the vowel in other syllables. The stressed vowel may also be louder or pronounced on a higher pitch or note. Again, not traffic, but traffic. Not adapt, but adapt. Not photographer, but photographer. So you hit that vowel and you lengthen the vowel. You hit that syllable, I'm sorry, and you lengthen the vowel. Okay, so now let's talk about unstressed syllables. Unstressed syllables are short, and the vowel in an unstressed syllable is usually reduced to schwa. Regardless of how it is spelled, the alternation of long stressed syllables and shorter unstressed syllables is a key to natural sounding English. For example, here, j, that's the one that's stressed. Jealous, jealous. And that alternation from that strong j to less, that's what's going to make you sound more natural. Jealous. The next one, awareness. One more time, awareness. Next one, available, available. So you emphasize the vowel that's stressed, right? Okay. Secondary stress. It says some words have secondary stress in addition to primary heavy stress. Vowels with a secondary stress are not reduced to schwa. They are pronounced on a lower pitch than vowels with primary stress and may also be shorter in length. Compound nouns, noun plus noun units, have primary stress and high pitch on the first noun, and secondary stress and low pitch on the second noun. For example, this one is not passport, but passport, passport. This one is not schwa. This one here is shoebox, shoebox, okay? All right. So reducing vowel sounds. Here we have abandoned, reasonable, control, policeman, August, considered, Canada, fashionable, and contended. We are reducing vowel sounds. Stressed syllables. Again, you might convey the wrong message if you don't know which one to stress. For example, here you have personal, and this one here is personnel. See? Decade, decade, desert, dessert. So you gotta be really careful with this. Let's talk about a little bit more about unstressed syllables. And although unstressed syllables are not prominent, in most words, they must be pronounced. Be especially careful to pronounce unstressed Y endings, unstressed ER, and unstressed I or E inside a word. For example, the one with the Y ending, party, party, 30, mighty. Okay, you make sure to pronounce the Y ending. Here, unstressed ER, like in exercise, it becomes a schwa. Exercise. And then the unstressed I or E, like in evidence, evidence, schwa, both of them. There you go. Let's talk about primary stress. There are levels of stress. It says here, primary stress. The stress syllable is the most important syllable in a word. Listeners use this syllable to identify the word, as it was mentioned at the beginning. For example, polite, polite, full vowel, longest, loudest, and high in pitch. Unstressed syllables. Unstressed, reduced to schwa or they're short, not loud, and low. Example, ago, ago. Secondary stress. In secondary stress, we have full vowel, long, loud, and low. Examples: airplane, corporation, apologize, I'm sorry. And then we have this one here. Secondary stress. How to recognize the secondary stress. Here we have some tips. On the second noun of a compound, a noun. Like for example, railroad. The next tip, two syllables back from primary stress in some words, like corporation, institution. 3, on some suffixes with IZE or ATE as a verb ending, like apologize or educate. Movable stress. What's movable stress? Well, primary and secondary stress sometimes exchange syllables in a word to create a more regular sounding rhythm. How is this? For example, in teen numbers, stress teen when a pause follows the number. This will make it easier for your listener to hear 19 rather than 90. I'm 19, pause, right? There's a period here. I'm 19. You can emphasize the teen. Stress the teen. There's a pause. Now here it says stress the first syllable of a teen word when the next word begins with a stressed syllable. Stress moves back to avoid two heavily stressed syllables in a row. So 1990, 1919. And here you have 18 Main Street, 18 Main Street. Let's talk about words ending in a stressed syllable. It says if the last syllable of a word has primary stress and a preceding syllable has secondary stress, the two stresses may change places to avoid two primary stresses in a row. She is Japanese changes to she is a Japanese citizen. And this has a more regular sounding rhythm. Okay, let's talk about vowels. Native speakers drop syllables in some common words, the dropping of vowels. For example, here, interesting becomes interesting, separate becomes separate, favorite becomes favorite, federal, federal, miserable, miserable or miserable, different, different, practically, practically, vegetable, vegetable, and general, general. So we're dropping some vowels here. Why is it important? It's important because when you learn a new sound, we need always to learn which syllable is stressed. The stressed syllable is used by listeners to identify the word. Here are some rules to help you predict the stressed syllable. Let's check. Two syllable nouns. Like for example, this one here, stress the first syllable. Function, segment, climate. So we emphasize the first one in a two-syllable noun. Other rules. Two-syllable verbs in adjectives. It says stress the root of the word, the part that carries the meaning, without prefixes or suffixes. The root syllable is often spelled with more letters than prefixes or suffixes. Here it says first syllable is the root, where we emphasize offer, publish, jealous. Second syllable is the root, again, the one we emphasize, conceal, repeat, polite. Now here it says short prefixes used to form verbs. RE, DIS, IN, UN, etc. Do not stress the prefix. Remember, disqualify, uncover. We're not emphasizing the prefix. For longer prefixes and prefixes that are also words like inter, over, under, or out, when used as nouns, stress the prefix. For example, here, overcoat, outlaw, and interchange. And when used as verbs, stress the verb or root. The prefix has secondary stress. For example, to oversee, to outrun, to interact. Let's talk about primary stress and where it falls when it comes to these suffixes. Double E R, I E R, E S E, E double T E, E S Q U E, and I Q U E and double E. For example, here, volunteer, Chinese, cigarette, unique. Some exceptions, double E, committee. We're not emphasizing the double E here. Okay, let's talk about primary stress falling on the syllable in front of these suffixes, all of these. Financial, politician, creation, religious, publicity, attitude. Some exceptions, Arabic, arithmetic, politics, television. Now, primary stress falling two syllables before these suffixes. IZE, ARY, and ATE. Criticize, criticize. Secretary, vocabulary, operate, delicate. Some exceptions, naturalize, characterize, documentary, elementary. We have other suffixes and prefixes here. When other suffixes and prefixes are added to words, the new word has the same stressed syllable as the basic word. For example, here, the stress falls at the beginning. Happy, official, punish, govern, and then the stress is going to fall in the same syllable for happiness, officially, punishment, and governor. Exception, compare, and comparable. Okay, so we have these prefixes and their pronunciation. And then the prefix RE. The prefix often has a long pronunciation when the root of the verb is a verb by itself. Reuse, recycle, replant, relive. And the prefix is usually has the shorter, more reduced pronunciations. RI or R schwa when the root is not a verb. Recyclable, remember, receive. You can have these pieces of information and more at aglanguages.com. You can follow us on YouTube. You can leave us a comment there. You can follow us on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. If you do, you're going to have access to our teachers from Spanish-speaking countries and English-speaking countries.